Next up, we have defensive lineman Asani Redwood. Questions for Asani, Greg?
So, Sonny, I mean, we'll get a lot of questions about your current play, but let's start with your life story, okay? Give us, you were born in where, when did you come to the U.S.?
I was born in Kingston, Jamaica.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I came here my sophomore year, 2019, in high school. I was 15, about to be 16.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Tough to move at that point in time, leaving people behind, or something you wanted to
Yeah,
do?
it was very hard for me the first couple of months. I grew up with my mom, so it was just me and her at the time. And my dad lived in New York for a little bit with his dad, and then he moved down to Georgia with his brother, my uncle. So, and then he got an apartment. So within that time, he was always trying to get me and my brother here to live with him. But sometimes stuff move a little bit slow, but the opportunity presented itself, and I got my visa. My brother unfortunately didn't get his at the time, so I came up, started school, went to Collins Hill. It was already in the area. My uncle kids went there, my cousins, and he raved about it as a good school. So that's where I ended up going instead of Duluth or Mill Creek or Central Connect, those schools that was around me too.
So get me into football. You come here, how much do you know about American football, and how long did it take them to see you in the halls and say, that's a big guy, we may want to get him out? How'd that work?
I didn't know much. I watched it on TV, so I always said if I was going to America, I'll be a receiver. So, but I came over here, I was 5'11", 190 at the most, so I wasn't really big. But when I was registering for class, I met the Coach Gregory, our head coach at the time. I met him, and I played soccer growing up, so he asked if I wanted to be a kicker. So that's what I was going to do first, but because I came so late in the summer, and they already started football in the spring and stuff, because in the South, we have spring football as well. So I decided to try again next year, so I wrestled that fall. So I met some of the football players, because Coach Hayden, who was my history teacher, he was the wrestling coach and the O-line coach at Collins Hill. So he told me to come wrestle, then come try football. So when I went out there, at that point, I got a growth spurt. I was like 6'2", 205, 210. So as soon as I got out there, Coach Beck, D-line, like, it was, and then we in there in the summer workouts. It was early mornings, lifting, in out there on the field, grass wet, it was early with the mildew. So that was my first experience. 2 weeks in, I told my dad I wasn't gonna play no more, because I was out there, everybody's going through the drills so cleanly, and I'm over there falling, asking so many questions, like sometimes it looks like folks were annoyed by me. So my dad said, just do this here and see how it goes, and then you let me know. My dad, he never wants us to quit in anything, but he'll understand, because him himself don't know a lot about football. He's a soccer fan through and through. Like, to this day, he still watches European Football League. So I did that, and then my junior year, I played, my first 3 games was at JV, because we had a good starting lineup at varsity, and I didn't know that much about the game. So I was playing JV my first 3 games, and then the 4th game at Lowndes, one of our players, like, he went through some family stuff, so he wasn't available. So I got called up, and I can say that game was bad for me. I got put on the ground a couple of times, but after that, I started to learn the game a lot. I realized just listening teaches you a lot about the game, and having a coach like Coach Beck, he's a West Virginia guy too. He's from I can't remember exactly where he's from, but he's from West Virginia. So he helped me a lot going through it. Coach Swick, at the time, before he became a DC, he was a linebackers coach. He helped me a lot going through it. And Coach Greg he always told me I'm an NFL talent, so he always was there to help me along too. So after that, it was really, after my junior year and my senior year is when I really blossomed. Started playing good, started getting some sacks, or got my name in the history book. Got my first state championship after going there my junior year, losing to Grayson that year. It was a very tough loss. But then I started getting some offers and stuff, and I just fell in love with the game. That playoff was my junior year, really. That's when everything really clicked for me.
How real did football and kind of the future in football get for you? Because, I mean, you walk in here as a sophomore, you don't know much, and then all these offers and these big offers start coming in. What did that do to kind of change? How did that change kind of your mindset of football? Did it at all of like, oh wow, I can keep doing this?
Yes, it's still surreal to me now, even though, because my dad always talks about it every time. Like, did you really expect this to happen, or could you write this down? Because if somebody told you, like earlier in the years, that hey, you go play football at West Virginia with a full scholarship ride, and would you believe it? And to this day, sometimes I still don't believe it. That's why I put my all into it, and I try to make my dad proud, and I try to show Coach Brown, like, I appreciate the opportunity he gave me, Coach Brown, Coach Leslie, Coach Jack, like, why they gave me this opportunity, and I appreciate it, so I go hard and try to show them, like.
Do you surprise yourself sometimes with how quickly you were able to acclimate to a high level of football like that in just a couple of years?
I do. My first couple of games I think between my first 4 games my senior year, I had 6 or 7 sacks. So I was happy, but also there was this thought everybody else was around me. I played with Sam Horn and Travis Hunter. So they was getting offers and everybody else was getting offers and stuff. So I was like, it is my first time playing the sport, but I would love to continue playing it, and so I started really focusing on that too, getting an offer, and then I got my first one from East Tennessee State, my first D1 offer. And then from there on, it was just joy, and joy of playing, and then a lot more started rolling. Then my first Power 5 at the time was Vanderbilt. So, and then everything started rolling in, and then it was just, I enjoyed the game, but after that, it became a lot funner to play, knowing that I'll be the first out of my family to go to college, and I'm going for free, and I'll be doing something that's at the college level televised, and people can see you, and now you can make a little money, and so.
When you're getting knocked over and you're having those hard times in the early practices, how long did it take you to look around and go, my team is really good, like this is gonna happen, like it's not like a normal high school team you're on. Mm-hmm. Did that take some time to sink in that you were around really good players? It wasn't.
Yeah, it took a lot of time to sink in. I don't know if y'all know the history about Collins Hill, but they weren't really good until my junior year. So, and then that group grew up together. So I was like the odd guy out because they all were played together as freshmen, sophomore, and juniors now at the time. And our team was really young, but we started winning a lot of games, winning by a lot of points. And so even when like I was down, I could look around and see my team having fun, and I was like, I'm trying to be a part of that, So I try to push myself to get to their level and get better. There's always competition between me and Jalen George. It was always a race to the quarterback. I tell him like before every drive we go out there and say, hey, bro, who get there first? Then we got transfer. Devin Davis came in from Central Gwinnett. And then it was always the 3 of us always competing out there. Who gonna end the day looking better? Who gonna take our family to a different level? Who gonna put their name on the map? And then we had Cedric on the other side, like O-lineman every day. We get work with him every day. So that was just the goal out there, having fun, and competing with each other more than like competing against a team, because we know more we compete, the better the team is, especially on defense. You go out there, every guy trying to be on the tackle before the other guy, so everybody's there at the ball, and that's how you win on defense, just pursuing angles.
Does Travis Hunter surprise you at all?
No, not at all. No, I tell everybody about this one play I seen from him. Like on offense, he was down the field, Sam threw the ball, he was literally laying horizontally between 2 defenders, catching the ball. So like stuff he does now, like he does that every day in practice. Every game. That's just Travis, who he is. And my junior year, they was raving about him. I didn't know him much. I'm like, yeah, okay, like, you know. But then you see him play, and then it's like, yeah, I see it now. Like, so what he does on every Saturdays now, it's like, that's Travis. Like, that's just Trav, you know, so.
Going through the growth process on the field and in football. Off the field, though, you mentioned your brother didn't get to come when you came. Your family's kind of split up a little bit. How did you deal with that? How did you, was there anybody you leaned on? And, was that as much as learning about football as part of the moving to the U.S.?
Yes, it was. So my dad left when I was around 7, but he was always there, so I still talk to him like twice a week. He came down in the summers, so me and my brother didn't live with me either, but I used to go over there and visit and all that. So it was hard because I grew up with my mom, and then my mom got married. So then I had a little brother that I raised from like 1 to 2. So I left all that behind, and then I came here with my accent and stuff. People don't really understand me. So I had to speak slower, so I had to repeat myself a lot. So it really put me in a place where I didn't want to talk to anybody, and then started wrestling. Wrestling was the first part of it, and then I came to know Nasir, Mente, and those the guys, like, they started introducing me to football players and stuff. So it was like everything kept building on itself, relationships started to get built out of wrestling, relationships from wrestling go to football, and then football go to other sports because, athletes always stick with each other, and then I also played soccer as well, so that was a different group of friends, so it was just, I leaned on the sports and my teammates, and that's where my confidence got built and just like talking to people and stuff like that. So I went from being very antisocial, not talking to anybody because it was frustrating to repeat yourself 5 times, to being that guy that everyone can lean on, being a comedian in the group sometimes, or just like having fun with each other, being on the game, stuff like that. That was really a lot that got me through it too. COVID year, when we was at home, so we started playing the game a lot with each other. Me, Devin, Richard, Trav, we'd be on the game, playing Call of Duty and stuff like that. So that really helped build bonds as well too.
Contact with your mom and the little brother that you raised a little bit?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I talked to my mom Sunday. So, yes, sir. Talked to my dad yesterday. So when I call my mom, my brother is there too. Talked to them. My older brother now is in Canada with my aunt. So I talked to him. We was over there right after fall camp, before that break, before the season starts, before school. So me and my dad and my stepmom went over to Canada, saw my brother because I haven't been back to Jamaica in 3 years, so I didn't see my brother for a little minute. So I saw him, I was really happy about that.
When you were out there, I know some of those hot summer days out on the field there, and start thinking, boy, it'd be easier to be a place kicker.
yes, that hating on that body, and you look over there and the kicker is just chilling. He 2 kicks in, and then, but Isaac was really my friend though. Like, we played soccer together, so I really knew him. But Isaac would leave like 15 minutes after practice.
Think you could have been a place kicker?
Yeah. I think I could have done it, but there's not really that many opportunities for kickers as it is for a D lineman in a sense, because you have to go to camps and you gotta show your talent, and then you gotta be, because maybe one specialist get a scholarship, I think, or 2 out of like 6.
Up and throw them down occasionally.
Yeah, it's very fun tackling somebody. I can say that.
On the field, what do you think's helped lead to the increase in quarterback pressures, pass rush, things like that for the overall?
For the overall D-line?
For the overall D-line, yeah. Kind of a slow start to the year, and then now, obviously, the overall D-line is higher up there in overall numbers.
Yeah.
TJ's up there in overall numbers. What do you think's led to that?
I think the first game, we really embarrassed ourselves a little bit. Because, we had, no sacks on that whole game. Barely any pressures, if any. So, and then we realized, like, we're good. We're a good D-line. Like, we led the Big 12 in sacks last year. So we just need to play our game and, do our best. And then TJ start TJ was the really one that got us there because TJ, he started balling out. And everybody was like, TJ's balling, we can ball too. And TJ brought us along. And then Sean, Sean has always been the main focus guy a coach going to prep for. So when the pressure is going to Sean, then it gives us time. It gives other guys pieces and time to evaluate, to uplift their game, and they get that single block. Everybody trying to win that single block, and you get that. You start winning single blocks, then everybody started being accounted for in the line. So you start messing up their game plan, and you start disrupting the game. And it's all about disrupting the game at D-line. Getting in the backfield, making TFLs. It's even not even TFLs, just getting in the backfield. Sometimes, disrupting the timing of the pass or stuff like that. So we want the team to have the game plan for the D-line. In a sense, that's the goal for the D-line, and so that's what we try to do.
How much of this is going to be a focus this week because they're relying so much on the run because they're struggling, or so much on the pass because they're struggling with the run?
Yeah. Even though they're struggling with the run, they have a very good running back there. Probably a first-day guy. So we still got to focus on disrupting the time, and they do a lot of quick passes, so we try to get back there, get our hands up, but we still got to stop the run. That's the main focus of the week. Stop the run, force them in the situation where they have to do drop-back passes instead of off his back foot throwing it. So he had to go back deep routes, and then we start getting out there. Then we start eating. That's why we call greedy game. We just start eating out there.
Go ahead. Good.
I was going to say, how do you approach a team that's with its back to the wall? I mean, they need to win bad, and you're going into a place that's traditionally tough. How do you approach that as a player?
Teams with their backs on the wall are very dangerous teams.
Right.
But we consider ourselves as a dangerous team as well, even though they always say if you need to win, you're going to find a way to win. But it's our goal to go in there knowing that we need to win as well. It's not they're the only ones that need to win. We're 2-2 on the season right now, and so far we're not where we want to be. So I said we need to win too. Our backs are on the wall. So it's two teams that need to win going to Stillwater in their home crowd, having to take that win away from them. So that's the goal.
Are you surprised they're having the run game issues they're having, especially with the fact they got Ollie Gordon?
Yes, a little bit since they brought back the whole O-line, but it's still, either way, it's football, One quarter might happen, and then they might go for 500 yards on the ground. You never really know. Look at Georgia and Bama Saturday. It was 30-7 at half, and then Georgia came back.
Are things being brought up about that exact thing kind of happening last year in the game against West Virginia where WVU felt they were in control and then he exploded and led to their win? Has that been talked about at all?
We talked about it after the game last year, thinking about it. We bring it up some, but it's not really something that we try to pressure on to show that we can do better. It's not something that really we force the issue. Everybody knows it. We don't really have to talk about it, but we know who Ollie Gordon is, and we know who Oklahoma State is, and they're a good team. Even though they might be struggling right now, they're a good team, and we have to go down there in Oklahoma and beat a good team.
Asani, how does NIL work for you? You said you can make a little bit of money, right? How do you make that happen?
I'm a U.S. citizen now since of January. Before my 18th birthday, my dad took the test, so he's a U.S. citizen now, and then it fell down to me. So I'm a U.S. citizen now, so I get it. I just pay taxes on it. That's right.
What's it like being a citizen?
It's a lot easier.
Is it easier? It's like all paperwork before the
it's
visa and everything,
a
right?
lot easier, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
I appreciate y'all.